Hey, what's up, everybody? It's BDF 44. All right, so I just got through watching Game 7 of the Philadelphia 76ers and the Atlanta Hawks. And the Hawks got the victory in a close, ugly, kind of, drag out type of matchup. Um, to be honest with you, Kevin Herter had a huge game. It was John Collins rebounded the ball extremely well. We saw great things out of guys. Uh, but what stood out for me before I get into anything is just how the floor truly, truly, truly does shrink with Ben Simmons on it. He is so reluctant to get to the free throw line that he passes up on a dunk with like 2 minutes to go. Passes it to Matisse Thybulle. Matisse gets fouled, misses one free throw. All Ben really had to do was go up for the jam. I know his mentality is to pass the rock, but I think it was more so about him not wanting to go to the line, and that is just unacceptable in a Game 7. In that situation, you're supposed to be a star or a superstar or what have you, and your confidence doesn't even allow you to be aggressive enough to dunk the ball. I can't see myself as a GM keeping this kid on the team anymore, especially at his value being so high. No, I can't do it. I would have to trade Ben Simmons right away. Um, he wasn't the reason they lost. He had some really nice assists, defends the ball extremely well, as you know. But when it comes down to it, his inability and willingness to shoot the three ball truly does make it so that the defense can collapse on other players. Guys like Tobias Harris, Seth Curry, Joel, those guys are getting collapsed on nearly every play. And they end up shooting shots that are late in the shot clock, asking Joel Embiid to bail them out. It's just a lot of that, and it doesn't have to be that difficult. It just doesn't have to be. They made it easy on the defense by not, having him shoot out there, by him not shooting out there. And then the reality is he's standing behind the three-point line by himself. No one's paying him any attention. It's like they're playing off of him to such a degree that he gets to float around there by himself. No. You're shrinking the court, Ben. You're making each and every possession harder for your team. It's that simple. It's not about your ego. It's not about whether or not you can make or miss the shot. It's about you being the lead guard. That position cannot be a position where the player doesn't shoot, man. It just can't, especially with you being that big. You being a superstar at that, you have to understand your role means that you would draw attention. See, this is the part that needs to be explained to Ben Simmons so that he understands the importance of him shooting the ball. Your franchise has you as one of its top stars, making however much money, right? So the player that would be in your stead would likely draw double teams, be able to do a lot of different things for his ball club at that value, right? So because the salary cap is structured in such a way, it's very hard for teams to get players of that magnitude. You know what I mean? And it's like when you have them, you need them to be able to do just about everything, be a threat just from just about everywhere at that value. If he's making $150, $190 million, he can't be a liability in basic areas of the floor. He can't be a floor shrinker or a ball stopper or something like that in this era. It can't happen. And that's what Ben Simmons is going to run into. His value is going to be low because he just doesn't present enough of a threat to stretch the floor. For spacing purposes alone, he can't be a max player. He just can't. Because if I have Ben Simmons, you know who I don't have? Dame Lillard, Jason Tatum, all those guys in that range who can do the things that Ben does. So as a result, you surround him with players that maybe can do the things that he cannot do, but then you don't have the supreme talent on the other end to match what it is that he's not doing, if that makes any sense. You see what I'm saying? It's like, well, I can't be paying you $150 million because you're not going to do what the other $150 million players do for my team. And as a result, it's more pressure on Joel Embiid and guys like Seth Curry. to just hold their weight because you're not holding yours. And that's why he has to go. And I don't know where he goes. Like I said, I think Utah would be the best spot for him because of how they play. Everybody shoots the ball. He could be the primary ball handler and just kind of make sure that everyone gets the ball where they need to get it. Now, what that means for Donovan Mitchell, probably less ball timing, less time with the ball in his hands, but it creates a dynamic that allows for more power play, more speed play rather. In the open court, they would be dangerous together. Defensively, Utah would be that much more dangerous. And overall, his lacking in his unwillingness to shoot doesn't hurt that team as much. So that's the type of situation I want to see him in, where there's nothing but shooters everywhere. Golden State, that kind of situation where he can get away with not being a spreader of the ball because he can set up all the shooters. So, and even in that situation, he would still shrink the floor, and that's what he's going to run into. And he wants to be a point guard because he's a pass-first player, and he holds value no matter what because he's such an elite defender. But he's going to find himself not getting a chance to be the star that he believes himself to be because of the limitations that he holds. It's sort of like Andre Drummond. The league is going to pass up a guy like Ben Simmons. It doesn't matter that you put up legendary numbers and make all-star teams in yesterday's league. Because tomorrow's league, you're going to be required to shoot the ball. And if you can't, you're going to be sitting in situations where a player of your caliber would not be. And so that's what I see. Ben Simmons is going to have to be willing to shoot the ball. And he can't be afraid to miss, man. Can't be afraid to miss. I look at guys like I said, Marcus Smart. There's several players I've seen, guys who really couldn't shoot that well, but they'll try. They'll try. Even a Dwight Howard, God, he'll try. Drummond will take a shot. I mean, if you leave him open, you know what I mean? And it's like Ben's being left open all game long, every game. And there's nothing, he's not taking advantage. So maybe he's not the reason they lost. But ultimately, him shrinking the floor on every possession is why they weren't better than they were. Why they would even find themselves in this situation is because that dynamic was always there. So, yeah, Philly's gone, man. Philly's gone. You can blame Doc Rivers if you like. But, to be honest with you, that was a tough thing to navigate for any coach. I don't know how you play Ben Simmons. I don't know what you do. You don't sit him down because, again, he's so elite defensively. You don't want to forget about that side of the ball. But, God, does he create problems for you offensively. Joel did everything he could. He was a superstar out there all playoffs long. He had nothing to do with why they lost. He was excellent, personified as usual. He just simply looked unstoppable out there, and it's a damn shame that he doesn't have a co-star that's willing to take a damn three-point shot. Take a little pressure off of him. Seth Curry was fantastic. Dwight Howard did not play well today for the Philadelphia 76ers. And I've seen Dwight have games like this before as a Laker fan. It doesn't happen very often, but he once in a while has games where he is just frustrated and he's pushing people around and he's doing stuff that is really not productive to the basketball floor. And I saw that coach said him and it was the right move. Obviously they have Joel, so ain't no sense in keeping him out there if he's not playing well. But what he was doing, in my opinion, was just being irritable. He was setting bad screens. There was a play down there where Atlanta had gotten an issue where they were mad at the refs themselves. He immediately does an illegal screen and then finds himself yelling at the refs. Those are the type of situations I can't stand. When you clearly see your opponent is getting into it with the ref, this is working out for you. Don't turn around, do something to piss the refs off, and then turn around and make it so that they're paying attention to you now. They're angry. The opponent's angry at the refs paying attention to the opponent. That's working in your favor. Don't mess up that momentum. Don't turn around and make the refs look at you. Don't bark at them the same way the opponent is. That's counterproductive. And that's the type of thing Dwight did tonight. And I just felt like in a Game 7, you've been in this league this long, you're coming off a championship, you just don't do that. You just do not allow yourself to do that. I felt like if he would have played better, Philly would have won this game too. So, there were some things, it was just some things that I saw down there from the Philadelphia 76ers that make me understand that, they just weren't as good as a team as they needed to be. Period. As good as they were, and as stellar as Joel was all year long, they still have some things they need to work on in terms of their roster. And the Ben Simmons decision is the biggest one. It's the biggest one, man. Because I'm telling you, if I'm the GM, if I'm Elton Brand, I'm not giving him another season, bro. We are fielding phone calls for that dude tonight. I kid you not. And if I can get a number 1 pick or a number 2 pick in this draft for Ben Simmons, if I can get a top 3 pick for Ben Simmons, I'm probably pulling the trigger on that. I probably am, dude. Just moving on. Moving on. Cutting your losses, getting his money off the books, all that. Just completely moving on. Because to be honest with you, I just don't believe that he's going to make the adjustment necessary to ultimately become the player they need him to be to win now. Ben Simmons is a project. And I know it's hard to believe because he's been in this league for as long as he has. He's won Rookie of the Year in his 3rd year or whatever the heck kind of weird stuff there was. But he's made all-star teams. He's one of the best defenders, as I've said a million times. But there's still work to do on his development. He's still a young player. And to be honest with you, I just think that it's time for a change of scenery there. So, yeah, enough of Ben Simmons there. Doc Rivers, I mean, a couple days ago I was looking to fire him. I wouldn't be opposed to that. You know, they did lose the series. He wasn't necessarily the reason they lost Game 7, but the way that they lost Game 5 sent me to a space where I'd already made the decision. So as far as I'm concerned, the Philadelphia coaching position should be open. It should be. I don't know that they're going to fire him, but they should. Cut and dry, man. His teams just blow leads consistently every year. It's some drastic embarrassment that he's attached to. The Clippers went through that last year. They got rid of him, and look where they are right now. They lost Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals, but they're in the Western Conference Finals. And where Philly? Philly is not in the Eastern Conference Finals, so they're going home. They lost to a team that a lot of people would argue they're better than. So it is what it is. I want to know where DeAndre Hunter is. Is he out for the season? I don't know. I know he had a knee issue he's been battling all year long. Kind of came back for 5 minutes. Maybe they sit him for the rest of the season just to be on the safe side. So maybe that's what's going on. But I'm telling you all, the Hawks still have a level that they haven't shown us in terms of they are better even than this because of him. Like he played like an all-star last year. You know what I mean? That dude was monstrous on both sides of the floor and was yet another guy like Kevin Huerter who can hit shots from everywhere. If he comes back, if for some reason he's available as these playoffs progress, as the Eastern Conference Finals progresses, or if they make it to the finals, if he shows up for that, that is yet another wing defender, three-point shooter, free throw shooting specialist that the Hawks have, a weapon that just makes them that much more deadly. So I want to tell people that the Hawks, you're seeing them now in the Eastern Conference Finals. I don't think it's a far-fetched stretch to say that you'll see them again in this position next year as well, because this team has more weapons than we are seeing even now. And they're not crazy cash strapped. They don't have ridiculous amounts of money on their books as of yet, to my knowledge. I know Clint Capella has a heck of a contract. They're going to have to pay some people, so that's definitely going to change. But as of right now, they're in a good spot. They got weapons and they have money, it seems. So, man, the Atlanta Hawks' future is bright, but their present is just as bright, and they got a good chance to win the championship as anybody. Especially now, I look at them and going up against the Milwaukee Bucks. The Bucks are extremely flawed. They're an extremely flawed bunch. They play really good defense, but their offense is extremely stagnant. I like the Hawks in this series a lot. I'm telling y'all now, I like the Hawks in this series. But they're going to have to overcome that strong defense of the Milwaukee Bucks. But they should definitely be able to score on them. They should definitely be able to stop them from scoring, rather, to defend them. The Hawks should have some success. So, yeah, man, that's going to be a fun series too, in theory. The Bucks find a way to fight as well as the Hawks. They both have that fighting spirit. So what you're seeing is just 4 teams left. You know what I mean? Like actual basketball teams. There's no superstars here. There's no, super teams. Nah. You got 4 squads that play for one another that believe in one another, that overcome deficits, that overcome battles, and different obstacles to put themselves in position, the position that they're in right now. And you have to appreciate what we're seeing. We may not see this again for another 30 years with this type of parity in the playoffs, because I've never seen it before, to be honest. In all the years I've been watching, we haven't had no parity like this. So it's one of my favorite seasons ever. And what I want to see is a Hawks Phoenix Suns NBA final. That's what I would like to see. Trae Young, Devin Booker. I mean, come on, man. Who can close? But I'll say this about Trae Young: he's gonna have to figure out how to make it through series with his legs intact. Everything he shot tonight was short. I mean, everything. Almost every shot he took, he needed every point. He said it himself. Kevin Huerter, everything they did, they needed. Everything he did, they needed, because honestly, Trae Young was not the player that he needed to be scoring the ball tonight. He did enough, but he was cold. And a lot of those missed shots turned into possessions for the Philadelphia 76ers. If John Collins did not rebound the ball as well as he did, the Hawks do not win that game, because they did not, particularly Trae Young, did not shoot well tonight. Not at all. Kevin Huerter shot well, but Trae Young did not. So he didn't have his legs. He was shooting 30-footers, but they were clanking off the front of the rim. That's going to be a thing. They're going to have to find a way to keep his legs fresh, because as these, going up against Drew Holiday, he's going to have his hands full. That is a real defensive challenge that he is yet to face. He hasn't faced a defender like that. So I'm telling y'all, Trae Young, his shooting woes could continue going into this next series, because Drew ain't going. Drew is his size, and we know Drew is one of the better on-ball defenders ever, really, just like simply ever. So, yeah, I'm very much looking forward to that matchup. That's going to be fun. And so on and so forth. These teams match up very well with one another, But I do think that the Milwaukee Bucks are going to have trouble, particularly with Clint Capella, because I absolutely know how Brook Lopez is, and he does not rebound the ball at all. So Collins, Clint Capella, Onyeka Okongwu, I'm looking for y'all to continue to rebound the ball the way you did in this series. If you can do that, because you ain't got to deal with no Joel Embiid. The worst is behind you in regards to the center position. Definitely pay attention to Brook Lopez as it pertains to him stretching the floor, though. And don't try him in terms of thinking he's a guy to try to dunk on. Those things don't work. But as far as rebounding over him, yes, you can rebound over him with absolute ease. He's one of the worst. So there are things about this series that are going to be interesting to see, particularly the rotations of both coaches. I like Nate McMillan of the two coaches. I definitely like Nate. Nate's a little more sturdy than Budenholzer, in my opinion. And so it's a lot to see, man. Middleton's been on fire lately. Got to pay attention to him. How they defend him is going to be important. Gallinari equally on the other side. Bogey's health, he didn't really have it, even though he played out there. He wasn't himself tonight. Hopefully he can get it together, get healthy again. But as long as they continue to have Kevin Huerter shooting the way that he shot, there's so many weapons for the Hawks. I told you guys in a couple of videos ago when I was talking about the Hawks, I said, the Hawks have more weapons than y'all. And just about everybody. No matter who you are in the league. What you're going to have to understand is that the Hawks have more weapons than you, and you're going to have to deal with their shooting. So that's what it comes down to. But anyway, this video is long. I think you guys heard enough from me. If I got to give you an early prediction on the Bucks-Hawks series, I'm going to say the Hawks are going to win that series in 6, maybe 7, but I don't think that's going to be a short series at all. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Philadelphia is going fishing. I'm out of here. Peace.